Commanders' road trip continues this weekend in Houston. We dive into the top matchups we expect to see play out on the field this Sunday. Plus, Brian Robinson Jr. and the Commanders' ground game has kicked things into gear over the past few weeks. He joins us to discuss Washington's success on the ground lately. And with the team coming off one of the biggest upsets of the season, we discuss how Washington will stay focused in order to leave Houston with another win. And welcome on into Command Center. Julie Donaldson, Logan, Paulsen, and Santana Moss. Let's get this going one right. Okay, there we go. We got to get excited because this is a game that Washington, on paper, should have every advantage possible. And especially they're coming off of that high of Monday night, taking down a team that they did not have everything possible going their way. But, okay. Trap game, could it be?
I mean, this is the biggest trap game I've ever seen, right? It's after this emotional high, divisional opponent, Monday Night Football, going to kind of a sleepy stadium in Houston. It's far from the airport. You stay far away from the stadium. They're not winning football games. The stadium's going to be quiet. It's going to be a very tough environment to get up for. So, yes, 100% trap game.
You know, one of the things I love about it, though, is that they're not sitting there saying it's not a trap game. So they're very focused this week, knowing that, hey, we can get ourselves in a situation where we're not playing our best because we're still on that high. So I'm glad the coaches are emphasizing that up front this week throughout the practice so they can go in there with a better mindset.
They have to. If you want to be the team that coach says you expect the wins, you've got to go out and make sure that you do that for this one. So they will be taking on the Houston Texans that are 1-7-1. Despite their record, though, Houston has managed to stay competitive in most games this season. 6 of their 9 have been decided by just one score. Meanwhile, Washington coming in winners 4 of their last 5 games overall, but we know that coming off a big win against the Eagles, they cannot take this week's opponent lightly.
The NFL is full of talented players and coaches. And those that are disrespected are always scary because they all have talent. We all have talent. So we are going in looking for their best and preparing, respectful, because we know what it feels like to be disrespected. We were disrespected last week and have been quite a bit over the first start of this year. But it doesn't really matter because our focus is on our preparation. But I think the understanding, the respect for the game, and the coaches and the players that work so hard to prepare each week, it's legitimate.
On a short week, guys are maybe a little sore. You can't have a letdown, you know what I mean? You can't come out flat. I think it's really important for the offense to have a good first drive. Obviously, defense continue to get the turnovers and capitalize on what they were doing last week. But I think you have letdowns when you don't come out with the same intensity and you just expect your momentum from the last game to carry into the next one. That's just not how it works.
It's a good football team. They're very fundamentally sound, and we can't take them lightly. You know, obviously that we had a huge game against the division opponent, undefeated, big win, and you know the worst thing that we can do is go and lay an egg on Sunday. So again, we're just trying to keep the ball rolling, keep working hard, because again, you know the next game is the most important game. So we got to put the Eagles in the rear view and get ready for the Texans. It's going to be a tough one.
All right, let's go inside the matchup presented by FanDuel. So the team's saying all of the right things. They seem to understand just what they need to do to get this one. But now they've got to go out and they have to execute, right? And I think one of the biggest things is, to your point, Logan, is you cannot afford to come out flat. And this team has had some relatively slow starts. But in this environment where maybe you're not all geeked up for Monday Night Football, you've got to be able to bring that. One guy that typically I feel like always brings that intensity is the one that leads the huddle, and that's John Allen. What are you anticipating the matchup between him and Duran in this game?
I mean, I think those guys will absolutely dominate this matchup. I think when you look at the Houston Texans offensive line, specifically the interior, Kenyon Green's a rookie out of Texas A&M, is really having a tough time in terms of pass protection, in terms of run blocking, and there's nobody better right now in terms of John Allen and Payne in terms of duo on the inside. Quisenberry, the center, is also struggling tremendously in pass protection, so I expect to see a little bit of overloaded fronts there, get those guys in those one-on matchups, and really dominant performances from those guys like they do every week.
John Allen, 5.5 sacks. Actually, Duran Payne, 5.5 sacks. John Allen, 4.5 sacks. There's going to be some healthy competition going going
would think so.
between them, most certainly. But most of the sacks have come from the interior. I would imagine they are going to win their contest this week. If we're talking about one of the biggest weapons from Houston, Santana, that's Dameon Pierce, their running back.
Pierce has been phenomenal. I think this young back right here is
So
showing
good,
us
man.
that if he can stay on this trajectory, man, he can be that leading back in a couple of years when it comes to leading this class already. But I think one of the things that stand out about what we do defensively, we've been facing the best back week in and week out. And so our guys up front has been bringing it. I'm not sure if it's all about what they're, as far as the what Jack Del Rio is doing, or those guys just are honed in knowing that, hey, in order for us to be good, we have to stop the run. So I like our chances this week against Pierce.
772 rushing yards. That is 5th most in the NFL. It leads all rookies. But Washington has been pretty stout against the run. What about our playmaker, Terry McLaurin, Logan? What's he going to be up against?
I mean, I think he's going to have a really good day also. I think, obviously there's Singletary, the rookie at LSU, the 3rd pick overall in the draft. He is a guy that I think has tremendous potential, but has not been playing to that level of potential. Still trying to figure out his role and his timing in the NFL. And I expect Terry to kind of take advantage of that. I expect Jahan to take advantage of it. I expect Curtis to take advantage of it, because it's a young kind of secondary group that's coming together, learning, growing. Petrie is also a rookie out of Baylor. Again, good football player, but still a lot of time to go. So I expect our offensive playmakers to take advantage when they're in man-to-man coverage and when they play soft zone as well.
And the corner, Derek, has been dealing a little bit with a hamstring injury, so that could potentially, and Santana, you know what that's like. If somebody's dealing with a hamstring, you might be able to have the advantage, especially given if it's Terry or Jahan Dotson. What about their quarterback? What's the challenge he poses, or does he, Santana?
Well, Mills, he's one of those guys right now. I think, he's probably in his own head right now. I think the last, 5 games, he threw 4 interceptions. And one of the things about our defense, I remember when we was at 1-4 at one point in time, we only had one interception or 1 turnover. And the last few games, we're batting +5 right now. So our defenses right now have the smell. They smell the ball. So it's going to be a bad outing for Mills if he think he can throw that ball around, because our defense smell blood.
I like it because somebody asked defensive coordinator Jack Del Rio, hey, you get lucky on the turnovers that they got in Philadelphia. He says there is no luck to that.
When it rains, it pours.
He says, but that is hard work, it's preparation, and they do. He says they do come in bunches, but not lucky. That's not how it goes. Let's hope that Washington, though, does take care of business and get that ball back. Here's your game day details. They're delivered by Paisanos, where you get buy one, get 1 large pizzas on Commander's game day and free toppings for extra points on Monday. Order online at paisanospizza.com. So the Commanders will take on the Texans at NRG Stadium Sunday with kickoff set for 1 p.m. This is just the 6th all-time meeting between the two franchises, with the Texans winning the last 3. You can watch the game on Fox, or if you want to listen on the radio, you can catch Bram Weinstein, London Fletcher, and myself on Big 100 or streaming on the iHeartRadio app. Still to come, rookie running back Brian Robinson Jr. is coming off a career day against the Eagles. He joins us to discuss how Washington keeps momentum rolling into Houston. And we find out how well our players know their own career as tight ends Logan Thomas and Vernon Davis answer trivia questions on the latest episode of Commander Goat.
All right, I'll ask the first question.
Okay.
What NFL team have you scored the most touchdowns against in your career? And for a bonus, do you know how many touchdowns you've had against them?
Houston Texans.
Wrong.
What? Hold on. Whoa. What team did I score the most touchdowns from in my NFL career? Hold up. Arizona Cardinals.
Correct. The bonus, how many?
6.
Add 3. 9.
Wow.
That's a lot of touchdowns against one team.
This is a good one. Okay.
This is tough. If I had that,
Who did you score your first career NFL receiving touchdown against?
Tampa Bay. So, you appeared on season 29 of Dancing with the Stars. Can you name the winner of that season's competition?
Yes. Kalen Bristow.
Correct.
You have 1 career passing touchdown in the NFL. Can you name the player who caught that touchdown?
Can Andre Ellington against the Denver Broncos on my only completion of the day.
How many yards was it? I'm joking. I'll let you.
82?
Oh, very cool. 81.
81.
81 touchdown. 81 yards on the touchdown.
You were the 6th player selected in the 2006 NFL draft. How many of the 5 players selected ahead of you can you name?
Reggie Bush, Mario Williams, A.J. Hall.
Yes.
I'm not Vince Young.
Yes.
The Brickashaw Ferguson.
Correct.
Yeah,
That's a good class right there.
That's a great class right
That's
there.
a good
Radio
class.
City Music Hall.
Yes, sir.
How many passing touchdowns did you finish your college career with?
Oh, man. I have no clue. 52. I have no clue.
Wow. That's absolutely correct.
Is it really? I
That's
had no clue.
crazy.
That was just a guess.
Wow. You had 24 rushing touchdowns in college.
A little bit of a scrambler.
Damn, that's crazy.
Ran some Q power. You spent 4 seasons of your NFL career with Washington. How many touchdowns did you score while you were here?
Man. 7.
Very close. 8.
8.
Probably had that rushing touchdown you forgot about.
I don't know that rush touchdown. I did? I can't I can't remember that. There were 5 quarterbacks selected ahead of you in the 2014 NFL. How many can you name?
Ooh. Teddy, Bridgewater, Derek Carr, Jimmy Garoppolo,
2 more.
Johnny Manziel,
Blake Bortles.
Blake Bortles.
Blake's not playing right now.
No, he just retired.
He just retired,
Just
right?
retired,
Yeah. I was gonna
yeah.
say, I know he already retired.
All right, last question.
All right.
During your time at University of Maryland, you set school strength records for a tight end. During your junior year in 2005, do you remember how much you benched? How many pounds you benched?
425 pounds.
More.
435? 445.
Keep going.
465.
Just below 460.
I did?
That's a house.
Dude, that's a lot of
That's
weight.
a house. Yeah, you're a
I
freak.
can't even bench press 225 right now.
Neither can I, but guess what?
Monday night, rookie running back Brian Robinson Jr. scored his 2nd touchdown of the season on an amazing effort play, which was featured on Nickelodeon's Slime Lights for Week 10. Quarterback Taylor Heineke showing his excitement for the score as well. We love that. You got to get the kids involved. Robinson, though, finished the night with a new career high in rush attempts and yards with 26 and 86, respectively. All right, Brian, you're coming off a career high 86 yards. How was that game for you?
It was very physical.
Yeah.
Career high carries, 26 carries. First time getting that many carries in an NFL game. It was very physical. I think I could put up way more yards than 86 for 26 carries, but for the type of game that we had to play in the trenches with the Eagles, it was worth it, for real.
It's a lot of the situations. I know Coach was saying the average per rush yards carry, it probably would have been higher, but they had you in, 3-1, 4-1 in times, and to be able to get that. But was your mindset different going into that game, knowing that they came to you ahead of it and said, we're going to rely heavily on the run game?
Well, I did know that I was going to be counted on to carry the ball. I didn't really know how much. I just knew it was going to be in my hands. So, I just had to have it on my mind that I had to take it to them. That was just kind of our approach. I feel like we did a good job of, just staying consistent with the play calling. Just keeping the runs efficient. And by the end of the game, they was tired of it, for real.
You mentioned it was a pretty physical game. I mean, you were times where we thought you were down and you just kept moving that pile. Is that physical or is that mental when that happens?
A little bit of both. Just because when the opponent think you tired, that extra, want to move your feet, keep your feet pushing and stuff like that. Or when they think you're gonna go down and you just keep moving, they don't really expect that all the time. That's just effort. You know, it's mental and physical. You know, you gotta want to do it, and you gotta do it. So.
That second career touchdown for you, it seemed like you were really aware of exactly where the goal line was, because otherwise you might have been short had you not stretched out for that. Taylor Heineke was loving seeing you be able to do that as well. Where does that ball go? What is that moment for you?
That's another big moment for me. Just in that moment, Monday night against the Eagles, big play in a big game. So, I just wanted to make a big play. I knew it was time. It was overdue at the time. So when I stretched the ball, I knew I had to continue forward progress so that the referee didn't blow the play dead before I had reached it. So, once I realized that I had, had the forward progress that I needed, I just reached it.
What's it like being in that huddle with Heineke?
Man, it's really exciting, to be honest, man. Heineke got the energy that any football player would want in the huddle. Like, he had the energy that he want to win, that he gonna do what he got to do to help the team win, and you could just easily follow him. He's somebody you could easily follow. And, I really enjoy playing with him, honestly.
Coming up is Houston. This is a game that gives up the league worst in rushing yards, 181 average a game. When you hear that, what does it make you think on the potential of what you can do and the numbers you can put up in this game?
I just think, we need to, take the time to look at the film and just look at how we can attack them in the run game, and find the best runs that works for us and just go at them, it's up to us running backs to, make the run game work, us in the offensive line to make the run game work. And I feel like we keep, doing what we have been doing and continue to make progress. We'll run real well on them this week. Yep.
All right. Looking forward to that game plan in Houston on Sunday. Thank you.
Thank you.
Make sure to watch Command Center Game Day Live, the official pregame show of the Washington Commanders. We're live on the air starting at 11 a.m. and taking you up to the start of our game against the Texans. You can watch on our YouTube channel, Facebook, and Twitter. Then after the game, do not miss Command Center Postgame Live for reaction analysis and interviews with head coach Ron Rivera and the players. You can also find that on YouTube. Take command of your game days. Still to come, despite the Texans' record, you can't take any opponent lightly in the league. We share the keys for Washington to leave Houston with a victory. Welcome back to Command Center. This Sunday's game will be the last of 3 straight games for Houston against the NFC East. The Texans have lost to both New York and Philadelphia over the past few weeks. Despite the losses, though, Houston is coming off a 387-yard performance against the Giants, the second highest offensive output of the season. Now for more on Houston, we go behind enemy lines with our senior writer, Zach Selby.
Thank you, Julie. And with me, I have Deepi Sidhu. She is the Texans lead writer. Now, Deepi, let's just get right into it here. I mean, Lovie Smith, first year with the team. What has his effect been on this roster and this culture over there in Houston?
Well, I think it's been a tough year for Lovie. He was here last year as defensive coordinator, so I think that what he did was he aided the transition of a team that's really going through a rebuild right now. So the fact that Lovie was here last year sort of helped him in his first year as head coach get to know the players. He sort of already knew what this roster was like, unlike most first-year head coaches that spend the first few months looking at film and watching players and evaluating. Lovie already sort of knew what he had in this team. He sort of knew what the strengths of the players were, strengths of the offense, the defense. And so I think the transition was a little bit easier as far as the players were concerned. There were a lot of players that came back to play for Lovie, especially defensive players, because they really believed in what he was doing on defense. They liked his style of coaching. I mean, he's been through it all. This is his third stint as head coach. And I think what he brings is a stability in what has been a relatively unstable situation for this team. Last year, you had Deshaun Watson on the roster. You have a new GM. You've got a lot of roster turnover. So I think what Lovie brings is sort of like this calm, this experience. And, while they haven't really translated to wins on the field, this team has got a lot of young players. And I think looking up to a guy like Lovie Smith, who's coached a lot of greats in his career, I think that's really been beneficial for some of the younger players. And, they just want to turn it around this season and really start getting some wins now.
Time for our Keys to Winning, presented by the Maryland Lottery. Play fast, win fast with fast play games from the Maryland Lottery. Let's get straight to it. Logan, our keys to winning on Sunday in Houston.
Yeah, so for me, it's coming with the appropriate energy. Everyone's talking about how this is a trap game. This is a trap game 100%.
Yeah.
It's against a lesser opponent, tough road trip. Got to come in and match the energy of this team and make sure you come out here with a dub.
Definitely got to match the energy, but you know what I'm going to say? Complimentary football. Last week, the offense played well. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. You're right. Last week, the offense played well. The defense been playing well forever now, and the special team showed up.
Yeah.
So that was a big, catalyst to why you came out victorious, because all three of those phases was clicking.
It really shows you the importance of why being efficient with the football, running it, is important too. And the other thing is take advantage of their defensive deficiencies. They're a little understaffed in terms of defensive linemen. Their linebackers are kind of young players growing. Their secondary is young. They have to commit a lot of resources to stopping the run. They have to play a lot of man coverage. We have better skill position players. We have better offensive linemen. We should be able to take advantage of that.
What I've been saying all year, man.
Oh, wait, the same one's the same one from last week?
Hey, that's how you got to do it, man. Look, trust me, you know how I do it, man. I'm very simple. Now, this is the one, if it ain't broke, you don't fix it. Turnover, baby. We have to win the turnover battle.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that's most important, and I've been told this all my life, all throughout the years of playing ball, that when you're on the road, you have to make sure that you win that battle more than anything. At home, you might get lucky because your fan base might be on your side, and you find a way to win those games. But on the road, it definitely pays dividends.
And you've told me this off the air. They seem to be coming in bunches. They seem to smell blood in the water.
Yeah.
Ready there for it. The next one for me is be ready for the unknown. And what I mean by that is offensively, every week they throw in something a little bit spicy. Weird formation, trick play, reverse, double pass. Are you ready for that? Because that's the way they can manufacture big play, and that's the way they can hurt you, Tanner.
Especially when you're desperate.
Yep. Julie, what do you think?
I'm down with all of it because this team needs to go streaking. They've got one win against the Eagles. Let's make it 2 in a row against Houston. Thanks for everybody for joining us.